Hi, I'm Adam and welcome to the Tasso Works Scooter Workshop, and let's find out what's going on today.
Okay, this time we are talking about tuning or tuning again. We've previously done a video on tuning the 350. This video is on tuning the 125 E5 Plus models from 2025 onwards. So that's the new JPS model as we have here, the TG, GP, GT and GT2. They all have the same engine. That's the engine with the radiator to the side of the engine here. In this video we'll talk about the tuning, all the tuning options for it. Basically it comes as a complete kit. We call this Works 125, and you get all the pieces you need in one complete kit, and I'll go through each of the different elements and I'll show you how to fit them. So there are 5 elements to this Works kit, and it's pretty well much similar to all models that we do within the Works kit. So you get a full exhaust, and in this model it includes the decat downpipe. You get the RamAir Sock, you get a drive belt, you get DrPulley rollers, and you'll crucially get the ECU Remap. Now on each of these elements I'll go through how we fit them and probably chat a little bit more about them at the same time. So first up, let's remove the side panel and we'll zoom in on the engine so you can see a little bit more. Okay, so that's the panel removed. So engine layout, we've got the radiator sitting here, ECU, and obviously the standard exhaust. The airbox is on the other side along with the rollers and the belt. So first off, what we'll do is we'll change the exhaust, we'll chat about the ECU remap, and then we'll flip the scooter around and then we'll chat about the other items and fit in those as well. So exhaust, really simple to remove. All you need is just a wrench and a 12mm socket. And first off, what we'll do is top bolt here on the exhaust, pop that in and just loosen that off and remove the bolt completely. Now on the bottom of the exhaust there's 2 bolts that sit directly underneath here. Taking your spanner, all you need to do is loosen those just slightly. I've already done it on this one. Loosen the 2 bolts underneath, and then it will allow you to tilt the exhaust forward, and you can lift them off the bolts themselves and take the muffler section away, and you're left with the 2 bolts here. So just quickly remove those, and that last one there. We need to remove the downpipe next. Firstly, we need to disconnect the lambda sensors, and you've got 2, the front OS1, the front one, and OS2 at the back, and it's just a case of pressing the tab and unclipping the lambdas like so, and the other one is located just here. Again, click the tab and undo it, then just feed the cable out the way so you've got the 2 hanging down. Now I normally just mark the front one, or mark one of them, just so that I know that each lambda will go back in the same place. So we've now got the downpipe here. Taking your extension bar and your wrench, you can just, if you offer it up through the center, you can see the nuts that it goes up to on the cylinder head, and just loosen them off. Oh, there's 2, and this will just become loose. Once you've done that, you can just wind them out so, taking each nut off. Like that. And then that leaves the twin lambda sensors with the cat in the center, and we're going to replace that, as we've done before, with a decat downpipe. So basically the same downpipe but without the cat in the center of it. Now to remove the cats, which is next, you'll need a 16mm spanner and just simply untighten those one at a time, and making a note of which is one. Like I say, put a little marker on it if you like, and then the same with the rear one, and we'll unclip that and just unbolt that too. Place that to the side. So that's the downpipe off. So next we're going to offer up the new downpipe. We need to put the lambda sensors back in, so making sure that you make note of which go into which. So this is OS1, the front lambda, and we will put that in the front one there, and with a 16mm spanner just tighten that up, and then the same with the back one, and just pop that into the rear lambda sensor boss like so. Okay, and next you need to fit the new copper gasket, and this is supplied in your kit. That has a flat side and a beveled side. The flat side goes up towards the cylinder, and you just pop that into the cylinder port itself. Just make sure that you've pulled the old one out first before you fit it. Now if it doesn't just hold itself in, you can put a little bit of just copper grease onto the back of it and just pop that into place to make sure that it stays there. Then take your downpipe and offer that up to the cylinder, slide it onto the cylinder studs themselves, and just loosely hold that there. Then take the original nut, and I find it's easier just to pop your hand through here, and you can just put the nut on just loosely with your fingers, and then the same with the back one. Just go through there and just loosely tighten it up with your fingers. So that's just on there loosely. Now take the lambda sensors and just feed them up through so they're out the way, and connect them back up into their original points. OS2 at the back there, and OS1, just feed that through so it's all not touching the exhaust in any way, and feed that to the front, and again just connect that one back up. So that's the two fitted there. You've got your downpipe just nice and loose. Next we're going to fit the support plate. Now this fits back into the original position, and it uses the original bolts that you took off, and just put the top one on there like so, and then the same for the one at the back, and just do them up loosely as before. So we've got a wee bit of wriggle room just so that we can, if we've got any movement needed, we can. Then take your muffler section and just slide that onto the downpipe like so. Now you'll have a spacer washer and nut and bolt. Just take it out, and obviously making sure that you've got the support washer on the outside. Just pop that in, and then just turn it into so that it just lines up with the exhaust like so. Now I'm just going to move across a second. Then we've got the serrated nut. Now there's a little gap in the back here, as you can see. Just take your fingers and just pop that through the back until you find the bolt from the other side, and just tighten it up. You can hold it there. It's a serrated nut, so it will grip to the back of the plate. And then once you're happy with everything and it's all lined up nicely, you can go ahead and just tighten everything up, like so. Now we need a 17mm spanner. And we can just tighten that up like so. So we're happy with everything. And then the two bolts on the securing plate, you can tighten those up. One here, and then the one at the bottom there. And that's your exhaust nice and secure. Then go ahead and just do the front cylinder studs back up so they're nice. Don't have to over tighten them, just make sure they're on just nice and tight. And that's it. Now we need to put the spring on. So for this, just take a small spring puller, pop the spring, hook it onto that side there first. Get hold of your spring puller and then hook the spring on like so. And that's your spring and everything and your exhaust all in place. So that's that job done. Let's talk about the ECU and the ECU remapping. Now this is fairly straightforward. Again, as normal, we can actually remap the ECU through the OBD port. Now this is normally secured onto the frame, but just to pull it out so that you can see it. This is the OBD port, just sitting here, and I'll have a little cover on it. Now we can plug our equipment into this and just simply flash the ECU with the new set of settings. Or obviously if you're not local to us or don't find us at one of the rallies, you can simply just unbolt your ECU and post this up to us. This is really easy to do and I'll show you how to do that. So we just need a 10mm socket and you can just loosen the nuts on either side of the ECU like so, and then just take those off on there, and same on the other side. And that's that one off. Just pop that nut there. Now there's a little tab at the bottom here. Just press the tab and release the ECU like so. So that's the ECU out, and you can see it just there. Now you're going to post this little item up to us. You can download the form, the instruction form, from the help section of our website, and it tells you where to send it to. And once we get it back, we'll remap it with new settings and then post it back to you, and then you simply get your remapped one. Here's one I did earlier. Okay, and it'll have the sticker on the front just to say exactly what map's actually in it. Then just repeat as you did before, and just pop the ECU back into place. And the same, there's a little washer on the back of this. We're just going to pop that on the outside. So pop that one back on, washer over the top, and pop that nut back on as well. And 10mm spanner. If we tightened it. Okay, so that's the ECU secured, and then just reconnect the ECU back up till it clicks, and that is the ECU remap part of it done. Now in the ECU remap settings, there's a number of tables that we've changed. We've increased some of the fueling, the spark advance, we've dealt with torque tables, there's a whole host of settings. So it's not just about fuel, it's about setting it up so that everything runs in tandem with the exhaust, the DrPulley rollers, the belt, the air sock, and just gives it that perfect fueling and perfect air, so that we know that when we're putting these out, they're bulletproof, reliable. You're going to get the performance, but know that you've got reliability at the same time. So next we're going to change out the airbox and replace it for the air sock. So firstly, let's remove the panel. So that's the airbox, and what we're looking to do is replace that for the air sock. Now there's obviously a series of pipes and tubes that you're going to be seeing coming out. We've got the carbon canister which sits here, and then we've got the vac hose which opens and closes it with the feed pipe here. So we're going to remove the carbon filter and we're going to remove the air box itself. So firstly, what we want to do is locate the 3 bolts that hold two bolts that hold the airbox on, and you'll find one at the back here just to the left of the shock, and you'll find one just here. So that's that bolt out, and there's one on this side. So let's move that one out. Now there's also a little screw just on the back there, and you'll need to just remove that, as that's sort of screwed up against the mud guard itself. So undo that. With that screw removed, you can then just simply wobble the airbox around and pull it off from the throttle body. Now you'll be left with a series of hoses. Take the one from the breather, head breather here off. Oh, if I can pull that loose, and that should be the airbox all out in one piece. So then just set that to the side. Now the next job is to remove the carbon canister. Now the first thing is to undo this breather hose, which we can pull off from there. Now all this tube just goes to round to the back and then to the breather on the top of the fuel tank, and its objective is really just to take the fumes that are coming from the fuel tank itself. There's a little valve inside, and as soon as the engine's running, it opens the valve, the fumes come through that are drawn in, and they're then absorbed by the carbon filter. So it's just an EU emission thing, and we're just going to remove that because these actually can be problematic. What they can do is the valve can stick open, and then what that does is it draws air in through into the throttle body, and it just makes the throttle body run lean, and it's just not a good product or thing to have on your scooter. So we'll take this off, and we simply unplug that one as well, and then we can set that to one side. Okay, so you'll be left then with the tube that comes, which is the vac tube, to the bottom of the throttle body, and you want to block this up because obviously it's just going to pull air through. So what you can do is, if you take the little plug that's at the bottom of the airbox, you can just pop that out. Easy, pop that out with the wee clip, pop that to one side, and then pop the clip back over the end of the tube, if we can get that to work, like so, and then get the bung and just pop that in the end of it, like so, and then get your clip and just tighten that back on. I'm probably going to need a pair of pliers for that. So, and take the pliers and we'll just seal that back up. So there we go, that's the end of that plug sealed up, and you can just pop that and let that just sit down there out the way. This bracket here, which used to hold the hose on, isn't needed anymore, so that's just the 10mm, and you can just unbolt that and just get that out of the way. Save you snagging your hands on it every time you open up the panel in the future, and then you can just put that bracket just to one side and you'll not need that. So that cleans just everything up. Now we're left with the breather hose. What I normally do with this, and the hose from the cylinder head, That obviously still needs to breathe, and so does this. So what we'll do is we'll just put that to one side, and we'll grab a quick cable tie, and what happens then is we just cable tie these two tubes just out the way, so they're not just dangling. So we'll put one in there and the other one just behind, and we just cable tie it to that upright tube. Now don't over tighten it, just enough that they're just kept out the way, and just snip the excess off. Okay, and that's that. So that's everything all tidied away. Now let's get the air sock on. So with this, what we want to do is we want to utilize this tube section. If we just put an air sock or a pod straight on the back of the throttle body, what that means then is you're going to end up drawing in all the hot air from the cylinder head. And what we really want to do is pull the cold air as it comes underneath the panel. And cold, dense air is just better for performance. So we're going to take this out, and then we're just going to trim this down. So it's fairly straightforward. If you pull the pipe just off of this connection here, just to loosen it out. Oh. So if you take a pair of pliers and just loosen the clip, move it to one side, and you can just pop that hose off of there. Now this is the piece we're looking for, and all you need to do is get your hand hold of that and then just literally pull that piece out. Now this is actually glued into the box, and the only bit we're looking for is this section here. Now in true Blue Peter style, here's one I prepared earlier. So that's what we're looking to do, is to take that section off there, so we're left with just this piece. Then cut it up about 3 inches high and just take this piece off, so that you're left with this sort of this idea. Now we want to leave a ridge here, because when the sock goes over the top and we pull the cable tie on, the ridge will stop the sock from coming off in the future. Now once you've got this off and you're left with this, there is obviously the bung section, which is here. Now what I've done is, you just using one of the sort of M8 bolts that was left over from the exhaust, you can just put that into the gap and then hold it in with the clip. It works very effective, and it's just a way to just stop any dirty air being drawn in, and so that the air filter is taking in all the clean air. Now next we're going to do is we're going to get the air sock and place that just over the top there like so, and then we're going to put a cable tie around the outside like that. So then grab your cable tie, wrap that around the air filter, and just pull it nice and tight. That's it. That's not going anywhere now because it's held on by that ridge. And then just snip any excess that you've got away. So the air sock on, we're going to refit that back onto the throttle body like so, and then with a Phillips screwdriver, I've got a nice long one here, just simply screw back on the Jubilee clip to secure the inlet hose onto the throttle body. And that's the air sock all fitted. Now this one's at a slightly different angle because it's from a different model, but the one that came off of here will just come down here, but it'll sit about the same sort of position. So changing the belt and rollers is a case of just removing this cover. That's the black section you see here. Okay, with the drive cover removed, we've now got full access through to the drive area, and this is the clutch at the back and the variator at the front, and the rollers are located just at the back, and we have the belt just in the front here. So we're going to change the belt and the rollers. So for this we need to take off these two nuts here, which secure the covers on both. So let's grab a 17mm on our on our wrench. So let's grab our 17 on our wrench, and we just need a holder. So let's pop the holder into place. Now you and the clutch itself and take it out. So that is your clutch assembly removed. Now you can put that to one side, and that's the belt that we're going to be changing. Now the next job is to change the variator pulleys themselves, or the rollers themselves. So if you just get hold of your finger in just so that you can slide it out, keep it sandwiched together, because if you just take the one half apart, all the rollers are just going to fall out all across your bench. So just take the whole lot together, flip it upside down, and if you press the back, you can just remove the ramp plate, and there's your 6 rollers in there. Now just tip them upside, and you've cleared them out the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in DrPulley rollers on this. So DrPulley rollers are not round like the originals, they are cam shaped, and this makes for a very reliable roller. It doesn't sit there and wear out like round rollers. Round rollers will naturally want to have flat sides to them. If you nail it away at traffic lights and things like that, you start getting flat spots in your rollers, and then they won't spin out properly. You start losing power. DrPulleys never suffer from that. They are like a cam shape. You can see them there, they're like a little cam. Now for these, you just simply place them into the variator like so, and you need to make sure, I don't know if you can see that or not on there, but you need to make sure that you can read the DrPulley along the top. So put it in from the left hand side, and making sure you can read DrPulley along the top, and just pop them into the gaps and work your way around. DrPulley at the top, and just pop them in there, and that is all 6 of them done. So that's them into their separated holders. Next, put the ramp plate back on, and making sure that it goes into the gaps where it should do. Okay, so that's them all in together. Now make sure you keep that held together. You don't want them to move inside the variator. They need to be in their set position, so hold it together and then offer it back up to the engine itself and slide it on. So that's your variator put back in. Next we're going to get our new belt, and obviously you can see our belt there. It's got our name across it. Usually it's best as a rule of thumb just so that to put it on so that you can read the name. Now we need to get hold of the clutch. Now just loop that onto the belt, put that onto the drive shaft, and then just hook that over the front pulley itself, like so. Compress it a little bit, you can get that onto there properly. So that's the drive pulley on. Next we are going to pop our variator fan back on, making sure that you've got that into the grooves. And I'd like to put a little bit of thread lock onto there. If I had some, I would pop it on, but for the purpose of this video, we are just going to pop the nut back on. So pop the nut on. Okay, put the tool holder onto there, and then with our torque wrench set to 70 Newton meters, we're going to pop that on there, and we're just going to tighten that until we hear it click. Okay, and that's our 70 set for the front, and the same on the back. We are going to pop the nut, pop the variator, pop the clutch back on, and washer and nut. Again, it's good practice, just use a little bit of Loctite in there. Then lock that into place, and again, we're just going to tighten this nut up to the same until we can hear it click. And there we go. That is the variator belt and rollers all done. So just do a quick spin just to check you've got movement in there and that belt is not trapped in any way. Then we just need to put the cover back on. You just got a couple of sort of cables hanging around, so reusing the bolts that you took off earlier from the original Airbox. If you flip this little clip around, I like to just pop this off. There we go. And that'll keep that. Okay, so that's everything done, and we have fitted the Works 125 to this JPS. So what have you got from this? Well, we've obviously got a lovely sounding exhaust. Not only does it look good, you've got rid of all the weight from the original exhaust. We've removed all the restrictions that sit in place, removed the very restrictive Airbox and cat exhaust, and we've remapped it. Now, in the mapping, we've obviously changed things like the fueling, torque tables. We've removed the limiters that the scooter has. They've got an RPM limiter. We took this scooter out for a quick run a couple of days back, and it was a blast. It goes really well. Remember, it's no 350, it's not going to go pulling wheelies, but it will certainly be noticeable from what we had before. We've seen about a 25% increase. At one point we were bombing along and we could see 70 on the clock. Appreciate that's not exactly true because the clocks are slightly out, but it's still a lot more than the 50 sort of 3 mark that most people are seeing from this. That's everything. It's not tricky to fit. You can do this yourself. You can buy these items direct from your Tasso dealer, or you can buy them from our website. The link for ordering is in the description below. If you've got any questions, just please drop in the comments. Give us a ring. We're more than happy to talk you through it. I hope you found this video interesting. Until next time, see you later.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe below so you don't miss our next episode.